So it's a Sunday evening. You know what time that is for, MJ, don't you?
Topical video time!
It is definitely topical video time. We have two topics to discuss with you today together here at the British Fist. The first will be Chris Sabin's title win at this past Destination X Impact show, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what we think about the Money in the Bank winners, Damien Sandow and Randy Orton. Please give us your thoughts on those topics down in the comment section, and please don't hesitate to send us video responses as well with your thoughts on the topics. So as we saw in this edition of Destination X Impact, Chris Sabin overcame Bully Ray in the main event to win the World Heavyweight Championship, and the fan reaction to this has generally been quite a positive one, I think, because a lot of TNA fans just love the fact that they've pushed a homegrown guy in Chris Sabin to the main event. Is it just me, or is this kind of a joke? Like, a guy like Chris Sabin, who at best to me is an X-Division guy, should never be main eventing, or should never be going over Bully Ray, or never ever be winning the World Heavyweight Championship, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Well, minusing beating Bully Ray in his first championship shot, I don't agree with, but Chris Sabin becoming the World Heavyweight Champion, I think that's kind of a real good move, because you're not pushing a WWE like Bully Ray used to be in WWE. It's someone completely different. It's someone new to the main event championship scene. Someone who's a good performer, can put on good matches against following on wrestlers if it does not get given back to Bully Ray.
I guess my question would be, is this really believable? I mean, when Austin Aries beat Bobby Roode last year, that was kind of believable because he beat guys like Samoa Joe, he beat guys like Bully Ray, he was the longest reigning X-Division champion. But I look at a guy like Chris Sabin, I'm like, well, what has he really done? I mean, has he really he's beat Austin Aries once. He hasn't really done all that much to really say to me, right, this guy should be World Heavyweight Champion. And I understand that this did draw a high rating, but the question really for me is, will this continuously draw a higher rating for the company itself? And I just don't understand how you had Jeff Hardy lose to Bully Ray, you had Sting lose to Bully Ray, meaning you can't fight for the World Heavyweight Championship anymore, and then you go and have Chris Sabin beat Bully Ray. And to me, that just sounds kind of dumb in my opinion. I just don't see why TNA have done this. And to me, this is a desperate move by a desperate wrestling company that are just trying to make some kind of wacky big surprise come out of nowhere. I'll admit it was unpredictable and it was somewhat of a good title win, etc. But I just cannot get behind this decision whatsoever. I really can't.
Well, if we minus the fact that, yes, we've had these other wrestlers try to defeat Bully Ray and not been able to do it, eventually he had to lose that championship to someone. And I guess instead of giving it to someone who's already held the championship, giving it to someone completely different, someone who might not get the longest run, but at least it's someone that's been in TNA for a while, built up a name for himself, got a fan base behind him, so you're not giving it to someone completely out there.
Indeed, and I do wonder if the casual fans will care about, I guess, the rating, the 1.2 rating that this Destination X Impact got kind of shows that maybe people do care about Chris Sabin. But like I said, I cannot really get behind this decision. I just don't see Chris Sabin as a guy that should be winning any kind of World Heavyweight Championship. And I know there are a lot of people out there that will disagree with me. I know there's a lot of people out there that love the fact that Sabin won the belt, but I'm sorry, I just can't feel the same way. Any more thoughts on Chris Sabin's title win? Maybe, I guess it did legitimize Option C quite a lot.
But at the end of the day, even though there are fans who are happy Sabin's the champion, there's been many who've also agreed that it's not going to be a long run. He's not going to headline Bound for Glory. But the fact that Sabin's held that championship is a great thing for TNA and for his future.
Indeed. I do think it was a very desperate move by TNA to do this. And I can't, like you said, I can't see him holding it to Bound for Glory. I hope Bully Ray gets that belt back. So it's just, you built this whole Aces and Eights storyline, which they've been cultivating now for way too fucking long. And the big payoff for it is to have Chris Sabin win the World Heavyweight Championship. That just, to me, is a complete utter fucking waste. So at Money in the Bank, we saw Damien Sandow win the World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank and Randy Orton win the WWE Championship Money in the Bank. We didn't really get too much time to really talk about these because of the time restraint we put on ourselves on the Money in the Bank review this year. But as for Damien Sandow, what do you think to Damien Sandow winning this? He wasn't exactly built up for it, but I think he's got a strong enough character to carry the briefcase and do something well with it.
Of all the wrestlers in the SmackDown side, we didn't really put our money on Sandow, even though looking at it now, he has been involved with main eventers.
Like Sheamus, for example.
Even though he's not had the winning streak to back him up. But so it could have been given to someone else and still made sense. But I think as Sanal's been teased against main eventers, it's a good direction for him.
You know, I look at it this way: the SmackDown Money in the Bank. I mean, everyone in there pretty much really didn't, apart from maybe Dean Ambrose, in my opinion, really wasn't built up to win Money in the Bank. But there was Damien Sandow. I'll say this, has a very unique character. He has a character that I believe can be in the main event. He does have a main event look about him. He's got mic skills, and you know, you can put him in promos, you can put him in prominent spots. I mean, you're feuding him right now with Cody Rhodes, which could be a pretty good feud and hopefully make Cody Rhodes a little bit more relevant as my phone goes off. But I just think that a guy like Damien Sandow, at least if he's not been built up, is the kind of guy that can carry the briefcase for quite some time and eventually, hopefully, build himself up to cash in at some point. And I think the WWE will hopefully do a decent job of building Damien Sandow up. I hope.
As much as I do like Damien Sandow and I like the fact the WWE are hopefully going to be moving him in a better direction, if we look at Damien Sandow and if we look at his track record, we normally Money in the Bank winners have not had the winning streak building up to the Money in the Bank. And Sandow, yes, he's been against main events, which I applaud WWE for, but he's not managed to beat a Money in the Bank winner. So when he cashes in, it may be the heel wave, which has been for the many past years, but do we really predict him to beat whoever the World Heavyweight Champion is in the rematch once he becomes the World Heavyweight Champion?
Indeed. And could you see him being a World Heavyweight Champion, a guy like Damien Sandow, or is he still kind of like a mid-carder to you, really?
Well, he's been against main eventers. We've applauded his matches in good ways, but he's not actually properly beat a main eventer. But I'm going to give Sandow the credit that it's like we've said about Sabin, it's someone different being put into a good place. So I'd say I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, no, I'm also looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to the feud between him and Cody Rhodes and seeing what they're going to do with Damien Sandow. As for Randy Orton, though, this was a bit of a surprise. I mean, Randy Orton hasn't won a Money in the Bank briefcase, so I guess looking back at it, it shouldn't have been all that much of a surprise, but he has been losing a fair amount lately. He hasn't really been in the title picture ever since that second wellness policy, which was back in 2011, 2012. So I guess he is kind of something new in the title picture if you think about it, even though he's been in the title picture quite a lot beforehand, if you know what I mean.
Well, going into it, I did have my money on Daniel Bryan to this push, but now looking back at it, you've got what WWE have done making Orton win this is two different storylines. You have this Cena and Bryan, and Orton with the briefcase who could jump in at any minute. So looking at it, the WWE have done two good things for the future.
Indeed. And plus, do you reckon that Orton holding the briefcase could potentially lead to some kind of heel turn, which we believe the Randy Orton character really desperately needs at this point?
Well, to be honest, the fact that the WWE, most of the Money in the Bank winners, if not all, have been heels, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a way to turn Orton heel to continue their trend.
Yeah, I still scratch my head as to why Orton won the Money in the Bank briefcase, but I can at least see some good stuff coming out of this. Apparently, the plan going forward will be for him to feud with Daniel Bryan over the belt, which should be at least semi-interesting, I feel. I just hope to God this doesn't lead to another John Cena versus Randy Orton match. I do not want to see that match at all. I really don't.
As much as that means Bryan would have to somehow beat Cena, once that happens, the fact that WWE have teased a good Orton and Bryan feud, I think throwing the World Heavyweight Championship into that feud would make it great, because we have Orton, who's been an ex-great champion in the past, Daniel Bryan trying to rebuild himself up. I think this could be definitely good as long as they, like Mr. Parkin said or Dan was saying, keep it between Orton and Daniel Bryan.
And what would you guys prefer to call me, Dan or Mr. Parkin? Please let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much summed our thoughts up on that. We might be talking about Daniel Bryan and John Cena next week. I think that's a big topic. We'll probably discuss that more next week. WWE is at least giving us some things to talk about, like Lesnar and CM Punk, and the build to SummerSlam does seem quite interesting, judging by what we've seen on Raw and less so on SmackDown.
Well, there is going to be one final question which will combine this part we've just made here, the cash-in part, because we're going to have Sandow cash-in at some point, don't know when, and we also said that Orton could be cashing at SummerSlam to start the feud or later on. So that's brought an interesting point on how and when they're going to do it.
Indeed. Please let us know your thoughts and comments on the Money in the Bank winners and what you think and how they might cash in. And also Chris Sabin's title win. That was a big thing in this week, and I would really, really be interested to hear your thoughts on that, as I didn't review Impact this week with NJ, of course, as I was working. Hopefully, we're definitely back to normal this week, and the week after, probably not. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this video if you have, and we hope you enjoy these topical videos that we're really trying our best to get back into. At least we're getting something to sort of talk about now, whereas before we just really weren't.
And topical videos, especially when it comes to the big pay-per-views, we do expect to have these videos more frequent. And with SummerSlam building it quite well this year, there'll be more to